Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Golden Silent Films podcast. Actually, to be more specific, welcome to the vault of the Golden Silent Films podcast. We are here for a number of reasons. First and foremost, it is Memorial Day weekend here in the United States. That means it is time, as always, for the Columbus Moving Picture Show convention. It's one of our favorite cinematic events, and we always get so much joy out of attending. In honor of the CMPS, we wanted to dip into the vault and pull out our first ever pieces of content dedicated to the Columbus Moving Picture Show specifically. Now, unfortunately, those files went missing. Like many a silent movie before, the files were gone. So we had to go deeper into the vaults to pull out what we could. Sadly, in real life, the Columbus Moving Picture Show is going away too. This year, 2026, will be the final convention. In order to honor the CMPS, it became our mission to resurrect this recording of our first CMPS adventure and bring it here to YouTube to serve as a memory, a piece of a scrapbook dedicated to an amazing convention put on by so many amazing people. It was an honor to attend and participate at the convention over the course of 3 years. If you're listening to this on its release day, that means the final Columbus Moving Picture Show is just beginning in downtown Columbus. So, step back in time to 2024 and enjoy our look back at our first ever Columbus Moving Picture Show adventure. And do forgive us the quality of the sound. It was so vital and important that this episode exists, and we had to release it the best we could. We know it's not the best sounding, but the content is there and the memories are there, and this is not something I wanted to disappear into the ether. It does exist in a better version on the podcast, but we wanted to make it exist for our YouTube listeners as well. So, that was a long way to say to thank you all for going back down this trip down memory lane with us, even though the sound is not so good. So with all that out of the way, now enjoy the Golden Silent Films podcast and its first ever on-location episode. Hello and welcome everybody to the soon-to-be Mobile Theater of the Golden Silent Films podcast. This short bonus mini-episode of the show is an update of sorts on the near future of the program and where you can catch us live and in person. Basically, this serves as a preview of our real-life travel plans. To date, our film-related travel has been minimal, and oddly enough, most of it has been to the state of Ohio. Most notably, we've been to Elyria to pay our respects at the grave of Lila Lee. We've also been Francis X. Bushman statue hunting in Cleveland, and on top of that, something you guys will enjoy, we've been there for a top-secret research trip that will feature prominently in one of our November episodes. We don't always travel, but when we do, it always seems to be to Ohio. That theme continues when we pack up and hit the road to Columbus, May 23rd through the 26th. Our destination? The Columbus Moving Picture Show Convention, and a weekend filled with great movies and events, and film lovers as far as the eye can see. As a veteran con-goer, the excitement for this event is real. We've attended Star Trek conventions, furry cons, and more Comic-Cons than I can count. Heck, we've even attended a convention dedicated to steam engines and tractors on a handful of occasions. Cons are a constant here at the home office, and this looks to be a great one. There will be so many movies to watch, lectures to learn from, and general fun to be had. And for all of you silent film lovers out there, every silent film being screened at the convention is going to have live musical accompaniment, which is awesome. And on top of all that, getting to explore a city we have very little experience in is the kind of adventure we here at the podcast live for. And that brings us to you, the fine listeners of the Golden Silent Films podcast. As you know, most of the time we are cooped up in the headquarters with only Gizmo and soda to keep us company. It's not that often we get out into the film-going world, and even less when it comes to out-of-state film fests and cinematic gatherings. Since we will be deep in the heart of the Columbus Moving Picture Show, we want to meet all of you. I will have my Golden Silent Films podcast hoodie on as I meander across the show floor, buying stuff, checking out films, just enjoying and soaking up the experience. Whether you're a veteran listener or new to the program, come on up and say hi. I can't wait to meet you fine folks and make cool new friends and talk classic film all weekend long. And to make me feel more adult and official, I actually have had business cards made. So stop by and, it's not real merch, but get a business card. All that is a long way to say that our show will be going content crazy during the weekend of the Columbus Moving Picture Show convention. As far as the podcast itself, we will be releasing an episode recorded live and on location with my on-the-spot thoughts and experiences. Then, in a few weeks, once the dust has settled a bit, we'll do a convention wrap-up episode where we bring you along for the classic movie ride with reviews, stories, and other notable happenings. If you haven't already, this would be the perfect time to like and follow the Golden Silent Films podcast on all of our social media platforms. Follow us on Instagram at Golden Silence Cast and on Twitter/X at Golden Silence 1. This convention is comprised of 4 days of film screenings, panels, and much more, and we want to share it all with you fine folks out there. There will be a ton of pictures taken and stories told, and if you are following and subscribed, you won't miss a piece of the action. And while we're here, let's not forget about the Columbus Moving Picture Show itself. If you want more info, movie lineups, and guests, look no further than columbusmovingpictureshow.com for all of the convention details. We hope you check it out, and we can't wait to meet all of you there. It's at the Renaissance downtown in beautiful Columbus, Ohio, and runs over Memorial Day weekend, again, May 23rd through the 26th. And don't forget, as always, the silents are golden, and the talkies are just a fad. Except the talkies being screened at the Columbus Moving Picture Show, which are all classics. The rest of the talkies, though, they're just a fad. The tagline for the film Shadows of the Night is "What a thrill when the crime doctor goes into a trance to trap a ghost killer." But actually, upon further review and introspection, I think it works with us as well. Because what a thrill when a podcaster gets to go to Columbus for the classic movie convention experience. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the theater of the, wait for it, the Columbus Moving Picture Show. We are detouring a little bit from our previous stop in Paris, France for a quick episode recorded live on location from Columbus, Ohio, in the Columbus Moving Picture Show. This season is a season of firsts, and this episode is one of those firsts, as we are taking the travel concept literally and recording live on location from one of the coolest cons in the world. Before the projectors get fully up and running, let's give the usual Golden Silent Films podcast social media locales. As per usual, head on over to Golden Silence Cast on Instagram for the most current info on this little podcast. And for everyone on X and or Twitter, just follow at Golden Silence 1 or just search Golden Silence Cast and we should pop up. All of those screen names and sites will be in the episode description in case you are interested in checking us out. At both of those social spaces, you'll get behind-the-scenes pics and info, upcoming episode reveals, and other fun film-related materials. And always, yes, you always get great still photography of our thrilling and exciting, but still Pennsylvania-bound podcasts, Gizmo and Soda. While our social media is being talked about, it's events like the Columbus Moving Picture Show that give us great reasons to go photograph the world and photograph all of our adventures and what we're seeing, so in our experiences, so all of you fine listeners can share in that adventure with us. I mean, I do this podcast to teach about silent film so I can learn about silent film, so that we're all on this kind of journey together. And when you go to our social media sites, as we have done for this weekend, there are a ton of pictures, a ton of cool events, cool stuff to see, and we had to share that all with you. Also, if you guys are listening to this podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcast, do leave a review, a rating, or both. Our show has been around for 4 years, and we are only at 13 reviews on iTunes. We would love to see that number tick up, and you awesome film fans out there can make it happen. All of those ratings and reviews help so very much. Dropping those reviews gives us more exposure in the world of podcasts, and equally important, lets us know how we can improve the show. As always, we appreciate the feedback and want to bring you the best show possible. And, while I'm mentioning it, do subscribe to the Golden Silent Films podcast itself. While our input can be spotty and sketchy from time to time, if you are subscribed, you'll never miss an episode, and the moment new content drops, it will go straight to your listening device of choice. So, traditionally, this podcast is recorded deep within the depths and catacombs of the Golden Silent Films home office. Even when we do get out into events, film screenings, and various film fests, it's not until well down the line that we get around to discussing and reviewing what we had just experienced. However, since our Season 4 theme focuses on travel, it makes perfect sense to go wild, to change things up, to spruce things up a little bit and do an episode live and on location. That means we are here in Columbus, Ohio for the incredible Columbus Moving Picture Show. Now, for all of you Francophiles out there, we apologize, and we will be returning for more Joan of Arc goodness in short order, but for now, this quick live episode exists as an effort to discuss our thoughts and experiences live and in the moment. First and foremost, let's set the stage for the Columbus Moving Picture Show. If you aren't familiar with this cinematic convention, here's a little backstory info on the event. Now, this is a convention that turns a spotlight on all things classic film. From screenings to shopping to learning and camaraderie, there is something for everyone. So far this weekend, it has been especially awesome being surrounded by so many like-minded individuals, and within the niche, this convention has something for every cinematic taste. From serials to comedy shorts and animations, silence to sound, there truly is something for every single person who attends. And for me, there actually was too much. Ultimately, it's a serious problem that the standard Earth Day is only 24 hours long. There is so much to do and see and experience at this convention. I was nearly into Excel spreadsheet territory, figuring out how to best allocate my day to consume as much classic film content as possible. So, with all of that out of the way, let's talk about those experiences we had while we were staying in beautiful Columbus, Ohio. Speaking of those movie screenings, that is the highlight of the event for me, was those film screenings. And the thing that really excited me was to watch movies that every single film being shown was new. It was so cool to know that whatever movie I picked was going to be a completely new experience. Obviously, the lineup on the silent side of the ledger was what first piqued my interest. But as someone with very little knowledge of cinema of the 30s, 40s, and 50s, the films curated by the Columbus Moving Picture Show were perfect, and I enjoyed them all immensely so far. Now, we'll talk about why it's just so far, but for now, I have enjoyed everything so far. It's not just about the films being shown, however. Also, just as important is the way each film is presented. First, all of the films being screened are being projected in their native 16mm film stock. And for the silents being shown, all of them feature live piano accompaniment by either David Drazen or Dr. Philip Carley. This convention provides a ton of learning experiences to its attendees. A handful of screenings come with live pre-film introductions by a handful of experts that really inform a lot of what you see on the screen. But that's not all the learning you get. In addition to the intros, the con provides a great lecture series that really takes you in depth to the stories behind the stars in the films on display. On top of all that is the Columbus Moving Picture Show patented super cool vendor hall and dealer room. This zone features nearly 40 vendors covering over 100 tables. There is so much cool stuff to look at and buy if you have some cash burning a hole in your pocket. I can vouch for it and say that my wallet has definitely lost some weight after my trips to the dealer's room. And notice I said trips. There are many trips to the dealer's room, and every time I came away with something cool or weird or something I'd never seen before, which is always a fun experience. Now, by the time you're listening to this, the show will be winding down, but that doesn't mean you can't still learn about the Columbus Moving Picture Show and all the great stuff they do for classic movie fans. You can see updates and con photos by following them at moving_show on Twitter or X and Columbus Moving Picture Show on Instagram. And if you prefer the internet, head over to www.columbusmovingpictureshow.com for all the pertinent info so you can check it out next year. This episode is being recorded at about 8-ish on Saturday, May 25th, so this is on-the-spot recording, and it will detail all the convention exploits from Thursday through early Saturday. While it's not recording the full experience, this episode still covers quite a bit of territory with a longer, more in-depth episode about the whole Columbus Moving Picture Show coming down the line. We hope this quick peek will only build excitement for that future episode and for more future Columbus Moving Picture Show content down the road. So we arrived at the Con Hotel, the Renaissance, in downtown Columbus at about 2-ish in the afternoon on Thursday and wasted no time at all in getting to the film festivities. While awaiting the start time of my first screening, I knocked off some time in the dealer's den. I said it before, but I will reiterate here that this show has a fantastic collection and selection of vendors and products. And also, like I mentioned before, every single movie being screened was new to me. The first movie I sat down to see was 1923's East Side, West Side, a fun picture directed by Irving Cummings. This is a fun poor girl, rich guy, romantic comedy, dramedy, drama, a lot of things going on in it. The story revolves around a woman played by Eileen Percy, who was down on her luck before becoming a secretary to a well-to-do fella played by Kenneth Harlan. As I said, this flick was incredibly fun. Admittedly, a lot of the great work was done by Eileen Percy as Laurie James. She was a name I knew zero about, and now I am a fan and will be looking into her work in the future. After taking a break for dinner and chilling out a bit roaming the vendor hall, it was time for more movies. For our first sound film screening of the event, we were treated to a fantastic Three Stooges short from 1949, Malice in the Palace. Now, the fun thing about this was that it was a short featuring Shemp, and to make it cooler, it had a great live intro by Shemp expert and biographer Jeff Dale. The last screening for me was a certified classic that, until now, had eluded my viewing pleasures. It took a while, but now I can finally say I've seen Buster Keaton in Steamboat Bill Jr. This was a film that had been built up, that had the word classic thrown around, that had such high, lofty bar set up for it. But I can say, after having seen it, it lived up to all the hype. Now, the Columbus Moving Picture Show has an amazing program that dives into each of the films being screened. This flick has been a staple of the classic film conventions here in Columbus. With Rodney Bocock writing, we'll be unspooling an original Black Hawk print of the film, which will doubtlessly conjure some memories of seeing this film in the past for some of our attendees. While we live in a great time to be a movie fan with pristine 4K restorations of so many films, there's something special about a 16mm print of a favorite with an audience and a great live score. Now, I personally really love this movie like probably everyone else on the planet, and was excited to see the Buster Keaton window gag stunt in context for the first time ever. And I will never turn down an appearance by the always awesome Ernest Torrance. Now, after a long day of travel and a long day of watching movies, I was feeling it, so more shenanigans would have to wait until Friday. I was tapping out on Thursday already. As I awoke from my slumber, no time would be wasted getting to the movie screen on Friday morning. The silent film theme continued with a trio of Max Davidson shorts. These were incredibly surprising. I had never even heard the name Max Davidson, so I knew nothing of what to even expect. But fear not, fine listeners, because I loved these shorts. As well they should be loved, because behind them creatively are some heavy hitters. You got Leo McCrary, Stan Laurel, and Hal Roach all being involved on the creative side. The Max Davidson Comedy Hour consisted of 3 shorts from 1927, Flaming Fathers, Jewish Prudence, and Why Girls Say No. These were all incredibly funny, with the beach-based comedy of Flaming Fathers being my favorite. To make things even better was the live intro by Michael Schlesinger that really put the life and works of Max Davidson into context for noobs like me. Now, these hilarious shorts were followed immediately by a return to the world of sound. That movie would be 1948's Green Grass of Wyoming, directed by Lewis King. Despite the film taking place in Wyoming, it was filmed in Utah, which is not uncommon in the world of film, as I'm sure many of you out there know. I really want to highlight that location business by mentioning the guest speaker who introduced the film. It was introed by James D'Arc, a writer who has done over 30 years of work chronicling the cinematic history of Utah. The speakers for all of these films really lay great groundwork and set the stage for deeper understandings and enjoyments of each film they talked about. Which really, especially for movies that I had never seen before and knew nothing about, and in many cases didn't even know the actors, it really put things in perspective and really got me set up to really enjoy the movies on a whole nother level. Now, after lunch and some more vendor hall shopping, it was time to re-enter the theater. It was back to silent duty for the D.W. Griffith film Hearts of the World. This 1918 World War I film was a star-studded affair with Lillian Gish and Dorothy Gish leading the way. This movie was filmed by frequent Griffith collaborator William Bitzer, whom we've gushed over in previous episodes. This is a movie that really perked up my Wings fervor. While I thought it started a little bit slow, about the time when the war content started rolling, so did the film. The action was powerful and fast-paced, and you could tell the budget was insanely big because the action was such a huge scale. Adding to the proceedings was the incredible live score by Dr. Philip Carley. Now, the final flick of the night had a cool bit of local flair as we were treated to Shadows in the Night, a crime doctor film. This is a talkie starring Columbus native Warner Baxter as a criminal-turned-detective named Dr. Robert Ordway. This was a solid entry into the Crime Doctor series, with a really deep-diving intro by Warner Baxter biographer Dale Van Nest. With the murder case solved in the film, it was time to take my own long sleep. Before we get into the Saturday list of events proper, I'd like to take a moment to talk about the structure of this particular convention. As someone who has and does attend a ton of conventions, I've seen poorly run ones, I've seen confusing ones, and I've seen top shelf conventions. I can safely say that the Columbus Moving Picture Show is top shelf without a doubt. Earlier I mentioned the events program. It is such a great program that it deserves a moment or two of chit-chat. Now, most cons provide a pamphlet or a sheet or something describing what is scheduled, at what time and what room, but the Columbus Moving Picture Show stepped above and beyond and basically created a textbook. Each movie has a mini essay and each one is a great read. I mean, I sat in my hotel room that first night for about half hour, 45 minutes, just thumbing through it, just reading, just learning about all these amazing films. It may sound silly, but this is the best program I've probably ever gotten at an event. Another make or break component to a convention is the signage. This is another aspect where the Columbus Moving Picture Show went above and beyond the call of duty. If you've ever been following our adventures on social media, you've no doubt seen the theater signs advertising each screening at the convention. It was one of my favorite pictures to take. It was a really cool setup with really detailed information about what movie was being shown, what was coming next, all in a very aesthetically pleasing signage setup. Now, I know it seems like a minor thing, but kudos to the well-made and aesthetically pleasing, like I mentioned, now showing signs. This was really just an incredibly well-run convention and really left nothing for confusion or me getting lost, which is always a great thing when you're at a convention. Now, Saturday's screening started with sound. The film being shown was 1937's Angel's Holiday, starring child actress Jane Withers as June Angel Everett. This movie is a mystery/thriller film with a feisty young girl making moves and eventually solving mysteries. Jane Withers was an unknown quantity going into this film, but her performance was incredible and never failed to elicit a laugh from me. And I also dug the Lon Chaney Jr. appearance quite a bit. As someone who's only ever used to him as a monster of some sort, it was fun to see him as a gangster's henchman. Now, Dave Damagala writes on the show program, all of Jane's starring films were B pictures, but she became the number 2 child star in terms of box office, and in 1937 and 1938, she placed in the top 10 in the Motion Picture Herald survey of top moneymaker stars. Between 1936 and 1941, Jane Withers made 4 films every year, but the only exception was 1937, when she released 5 films. So even though I didn't know who she was, Jane Withers was a big, big name at the time. And it's cool to get to experience and learn these things that people have known since the 30s, but I'm only finding out now. It's really cool little discoveries for everyone. Now, returning to the world of silence was next up on our dance card. That meant it was time for the Charlie Chase Comedy Hour. Like the Max Davidson collection the day before, this consisted of 3 Chase comedy shorts from 1925. We got The Caretaker's Daughter and His Wooden Wedding. We also got Long Flive the King from 1926. While all 3 were hilarious, I have to say His Wooden Wedding was my favorite. I was laughing out loud through most of it. Charlie Chase is most definitely a top-tier comedy talent, and I love that the Columbus Moving Picture Show gives him such a prominent spot in their programming. It's really cool to see a little love thrown out for Charlie Chase. After this was the final screening we were able to enjoy before setting down to record this on-location episode. 5 p.m. would be the start time for the William S. Hart 1925 Western Tumbleweeds. This film was directed by King Baggett and the aforementioned William S. Hart. To me, this movie was solid. Not great, not bad, but solid. This was a viewing experience that definitely benefited from the live piano accompaniment by the terrific David Drazen. His music was really great and really heightened the film's tension, especially in the wild covered wagon action scenes. All the speakers, since we're talking about the speakers and performers, all those speakers and performers had quite a lot of availability to the convention patrons themselves. Whether it was a longer, more focused lecture or a book signing, you had plenty of ways to ask questions and learn from all these super knowledgeable guests of honor. Because there was not nearly enough time in the day, I wasn't able to partake in as many of the lectures and Q&As as I wanted to, but I was able to get a quick moment to chat with David Drazen and purchase a Blu-ray of 1925 Lila Lee film The Midnight Girl, which he did the musical score for. He couldn't have been nicer and actually picked up a business card of the Golden Silent Films podcast on his own, which thrilled me to no end. This has been an amazing weekend filled with learning, entertainment, and seeing old friends and making new ones. As a podcast, we love shouting out others who work tirelessly to keep film and classic movie experiences alive and well. And in a world where so much is streaming or being watched on a cell phone, it's incredibly refreshing to see so many people turn out for the communal journey and experience that is watching a movie. And the Columbus Moving Picture Show is doing great work bringing film to the masses. While it may be too late for 2024, start making your plans for May 22nd through the 25th, 2025. And we, the Golden Silent Films podcast, hope to see you there. With this episode's reel of film spinning itself to an end, we want to thank you for going live and on location with us. From silence to sound, we hope you've enjoyed following us to Columbus and documenting its moving picture show. It's been an incredible experience that with these in-the-moment thoughts, we hope to have reasonably conveyed how incredibly awesome this show truly was. Did you enjoy this on-the-spot episode? Where should we take the show on the road next? What film conventions, events, and gatherings do we need to know about? Are you an attendee of the Columbus Moving Picture Show? What movies or events were tops on your list? Let us know all of that and more at the various social media spots of the Golden Silent Films podcast. On that note, if you've been conventioning a little too hard and have forgotten, we are on Instagram and Twitter/X. Let us know what you think about this special episode. And what silent and silent-related movies do you want us to look at next? Our world of silent movie knowledge, and after this weekend of classic film knowledge, is constantly growing, and we need your input to make future episodes as cool and fun as possible. You can always find us at Golden Silence Cast on Instagram and at Golden Silence 1 on Twitter or X. And again, if you listen to the podcast through Apple or Spotify, subscribe, rate, review. It does a ton for our show's visibility, and we love hearing your thoughts and ideas. We really appreciate all of your incredible support, and seeing how much you guys are listening only makes us want to produce the best infotainment possible. So, with all of that said, thank you to all of you fine listeners for all of your fine listening. And don't forget, the silents are golden, and the talkies, they're just a fad. unless it's the talkies being shown at the Columbus Moving Picture Show. Those talkies are great and fantastically programmed by everyone associated with the con. Thank you. Have a good night. Now it's time for me to get to bed. It's been a busy weekend.